Hi, it's Diana. I'm an actress, producer, and technical founder of Bronze Mirror, a creative incubator based in Singapore. This video will be a sort of update as well as a set of reflections on where I'm at since I launched a campaign on Ko-fi on the 17th of January to invite people into my inner circle and join me on my journey of leveling up from an independent artist to a public figure artist for the internet era. So here I have literally a full 2 sides, a full page of updates that I wanted to share with everybody. And because it is something that I've written just yesterday, after taking a 4-day break from thinking about anything to do with my career and just enjoying life with my family for a while, I thought that there is not really a need for me to memorize this entire script. But I will take parts of this and turn it into smaller chunks of content for distribution across different channels, because as sort of what did they call it? It slips my mind. But this particular video is for people who have joined me on my journey so far. Thank you very much. And it is sort of a responsibility, accountability tool for me in a way, as well as a milestone update and a roadmap tracking, so on and so forth. And also it is a way to give people who have yet to join me on this journey an insight into what I'm like as a person normally. So because I am someone who really likes long form content that is radical evolution based, basically, like things that will make people feel things. So that is kind of the content that I'm looking to create, and it's also the style that I have. And so what I will do is I'm going to read this ideally also, and I will add thoughts that come as they come along, so that you have a clear understanding of where your support is going and what we are building together. All right, let's do it. So on the 17th of January, I announced a campaign on Ko-fi to raise tips for further training in New York at a professional model camp led by Coco Rocha. Since then, I have extended the trip to also include what I'm calling proof of concept cross-border mini movie film production. I'm calling it a mini movie, but people would call it a short film in the filmmaking circles. However, my intention with this film is literally to be a mini movie. So I'm calling it that because the idea is that in this 10 days in New York, I'm going to use the opportunity to not just learn from an established public figure, and make connections in an industry that I've always heard a lot about, modeling, but don't really quite understand how I fit into that, but also have been asked why I haven't entered into. So I'm going to learn not just the art, but also the business side of things, which is apparently it's 2 decades of experience compressed into 3 to 4 days. And then right around that time, or after that, I am setting a plan and putting it into motion, this New York section of my cross-border mini movie, which I have recruited long-time connections based in New York, as well as friends and peers based in Singapore, to co-produce with me. So here's why I have embarked on this journey. For as long as I can remember, my life's goal was to be an internationally respected, beloved, and supported actress. when I first had the opportunity to study in the UK, which I'm very grateful for. Also, I realized a lot of it was conditioning, but that's another story. When I had that opportunity, my goals were initially modeled after the very famous, and a lot of them are knighted British actors who found opportunities to transition from amateur to professional during their university days. So, when that didn't work for me, for various reasons, I focused on building my career in tech startups on a tier 1 talent visa and using the majority of that salary to grow as an independent artist in the industry that was nurturing me through my university days, pole dancing. Pole dancing is an industry that was created by strippers to give themselves, the people in their community, as well as women around the world, and now it is extended to include, well, to be very fair, I'm not entirely sure, it's not really documented the full history of how pole dancing started. It could have been started by LGBTQ people, but all I know is that it was started by people who are marginalized in their gender identity and in that way exploited for sexuality. However, this industry itself was created by these people to give themselves an alternative source of income through teaching, through community, through competitions, performances, and things that would allow them to receive money from people doing different things, right? And yeah. And it also very, very early on, I'm really like ad-libbing now, so you can see really, really early on when I was part of the industry, I really remember how supportive and nurturing it was, because just the teachers that I met were so real and they were so willing to share what they've learned with me, particularly around their perspectives on sexuality. And for me, as a woman or as a female presenting person, it is quite important to learn to embody ourselves and our own power. And in private, I really learned what it means to be truly free in that way, in a way that was fair for me, and not for anybody else. And so, back to my script. This career, it allowed me to craft and embody a character on stage, one that represented love, sensuality, and freedom. Through her, I was able to fulfill my dreams of acting on stage for the predominantly female, queer, and enlightened male community, as well as everyone else, like non-binary, which I feel as though I gravitate towards anyway, and people who have often been overlooked by society. This community that embraced me, defining my sensuality on my own terms. So, I was given, and I'm grateful for the many opportunities to perform across Europe and even at the biggest original pole expo in Las Vegas when it was running. The home of pole dancing as we know it. I think so. I think it is. I think that the place that popularized the version of pole dancing we know now was Las Vegas, and Chicago, a bunch of cities throughout the US. Anyway. And then, when I reached a certain point in my career where I felt like I had really stepped into that independent artist mode, I was already starting to teach, I was performing a lot, I was competing. I had a pretty decent organic following on Instagram, and realized, something in me felt like I was being called to something, a bigger and more authentic dream to me. Yes. And I realized that dream was always acting. Pole dancing and the pole dance community gave me that strength to really hold on to this dream. And still, it wasn't really enough because I was playing a character pretty well, I have to say. I mean, I was also playing a really good character in my software engineering life. But you can't like an actress isn't gonna be. I don't know. I don't think actors can be happy with just two main characters in life. I think that's quite limiting, and I wanted to expand. And so, after soul searching through the pandemic and that time, I came to the epiphany that I wanted to be an actress in movies. And that was the next step for me. I realized that I want to be the kind of actress who can pull people into cinema halls and carry them through 2 hours or even more of a production team's blood, sweat, and tears on a screen that stretches from one end to the other. Yeah. When you're an actress or an actor in that medium, the only thing that really is in your control is your truth. This is a teaching that I learned from a coach I recently had the honor of meeting, called Theodora Vutsa. I'm going to credit her. And because it was very freeing for me to know that, because I don't care. Like, I don't care like so much about like makeup and all of the wardrobe, all these things. Like, as long as it serves the character, like the director and people in charge of those things can choose it. I just want to act, I just want to bring the emotions, bring the character, and bring the story to fill that room. And also when actors are like on a close-up and you can see the wrinkles and all of that stuffs that people consider, oh, I need to clean up, I need to like put the makeup on, whatever. Like, for me, the magic of a great actor is giving the audience something to look at beyond the surface. And I realized that is the kind of actor that I want to be. That is that next level for me. Yes. Okay, this means that I have to graduate and elevate myself from independent artist to public figure artist. To commit fully and completely to my art and love it first. Being completely comfortable, authentic, and natural on camera, as well as being empathetic and enigmatic as a leader behind the scenes, supporting the people creating the work or co-creating the work with me. So whilst these are skills that I've worked on, I know in my heart and in my gut, that it is time to take it to the next level. What does that mean? So, it takes one person to be an independent artist, and it takes a community to build a public figure. Now, do you sort of understand what I mean when I say it's time for me to step into being a public figure artist? Because it explains why I started my inner circle on Ko-fi. And it will explain why I take the next steps that I take with my venture of being a public figure artist. Namely, that I want to invent or innovate on practices that established public figures have set up for their own public brands, by establishing mine as a social enterprise. But more on that later. So, how do I want to do this? I don't claim or want to be a guru that cannot be taught. And instead, I hope to be a conduit for life itself. One that grows together with and inspires humans everywhere to embrace the radical choice in evolving at a spiritual level. To shine a light on this brave choice, collectively building a more loving future together, one day at a time. Yep. The first step in this journey, the first significant milestone. I mean, I've been taking a lot of many steps every single day, you know. Every single day I wake up and I think, what step is within my control today? But the big milestone that I'm currently working and aiming all these little steps towards using my compass of life and my intuition is this 10-day journey to New York to learn directly and personally the art of pose and business of modeling from another established public figure, the Queen of Pose, which is what people call her, Coco Rocha, and also use that time to build my bridges between production and film teams and people in the industry in the US and in Singapore, according to and aligned with this vision that I have received for this mini movie, as well as the things it could evolve into. All right. So why I started this Ko-fi page? When I started my inner circle on Ko-fi, I wanted to know that there are people on this earth beyond myself open to and capable of receiving this mission with me. I'm very grateful to learn that the answer is yes. Yay! Okay. I am now 5 supporters, $398 US, and 120,000 airline miles into this next milestone on my journey. And with this donated life force energy, here are the things that I'm doing and that I have done. For my mini movie and long-term omni-channel film experience, The Secret Musings of Eva, I completed a currently 28-page script and registered it with the Writers Guild of America, recruited co-producers in both Singapore and New York, completed a grant proposal and submitted it to the Singapore International Film Festival, and we're looking at who else we can submit to. And currently we are also approaching sponsors, more grants, in private investors for the omni-channel film experience venture, so on and so forth. Then I also started cover acts, or I published. So these things are things that I've been baking for a while. They're like, you know, herbal Chinese soup stewing in a clay pot, and now I'm serving the first bowl. You know what I mean? Anyway, and also getting feedback, okay, on how to make it better. So I started Cover Acts, a professional actors channel encouraging independent scene study and good self-tape technique. I've recruited and am recruiting other actors to become co-leaders with me, and we're also looking at recruiting acting coaches to become mentors and guides within the community. And the point of this channel really is to create a space on social media for professional acting in a vehicle that is beyond myself. Yes. I mean, I could have just released it on my own profile, but then I just kind of feel like Why? You know, what is the value that I can really bring from something like this? It is to share it and have a community of committed actors. Okay, next. I did. I produced, filmed, and edited my own professional acting content for social media distribution, partially through cover acts and partially through other channels. I'm also looking at ways to be everywhere in all forms all at once. Yeah, okay. I created a venture plan for my public figure artist to be a social enterprise. I spoke a little bit about this earlier. I restructured the investment plan and pitch materials for my creative incubator, Bronze Mirror. I volunteered both my filmmaking and technical experiences to charities, focusing on women and children in the developing regions. I prioritize all of these projects as well as their ongoing tasks and sub-projects into a roadmap, and I have so many more opportunities and projects in the pipeline, and I'm excited to share them with you as they unfold. Okay. There is an opportunity cost that comes with investing my life in this work. With my skills and experience, many people think, feel, and encourage me to take on a quote-unquote stable full-time position in a tech company and climb the ranks. Because I could earn upwards of $100,000 a year in base salary. I mean, this is stuff that I know that my peers are doing. Anyway, instead, I have chosen to stretch my personal credit limit that was given on a $3,000 a month expected income in Singapore, as well as my previous income in London, which was about £60,000 because I was in startups. And I've stretched that to now spending in my personal cash less than $200 a month. Everything else I spent is literally for my career, for the things I'm incubating, and things that will get me closer to these goals. Literally. Right now, this is where I'm at. And whilst I'm doing this, I'm investing my time and energy in work that either, one, allows me to receive a so-called windfall if and when my equity can be sold, or working in films that either have the budget for a few hundred Singapore dollars a day, a meal, or nothing. Yep. So in order for there to be a thriving ecosystem where not only I can get paid well, but also other actors and production teams can get paid fairly, and people can actually see the value that they're bringing to all of the brands and companies who rely on them, not just for ads, but also like subtle marketing and the sale of ideas, like literally the engine of why people buy diamonds and why people buy all these luxury things. Like, it starts from entertainment. And in order for all of us to actually have the value of our work to be like obvious and to be seen by people, there needs to be an infrastructure. And in order for there to be an infrastructure that supports our ecosystem, not just in Singapore, but globally, visionaries must invest in it. And for some reason or other, I happen to be the one receiving this 20-year iterative, step-by-step grand vision towards that future, which doesn't really just apply to creatives, but could actually revolutionize the way that companies are created, full stop. And that's what I see, like, for not just myself, but the work I'm doing in 20 years. And when this vision came to me in bits and pieces and the whole picture came together, I decided to answer each and every one of those calls. And so I hope that you will join me in answering the call. Thank you.